Hey, happy Friday, everybody. This is Casey. You're tuning in to howtoplaystock.com. And in this video, I wanted to go over some charts on some different stocks that I've been looking at. And it's basically what I'm trying to do here is I'm just watching um, several different stocks, okay? And I'm looking at price action, all right? For 2017 and all of 2016, I was using a different trading system, which basically went off of multiple indicators. And I wasn't paying so much attention to price action, but I was looking more at the indicators like MACD. I had a couple other ones here that I was using. Uh, Rather than using stochastics, I was using the RSI levels. And what I noticed with some of the stocks I was watching, and even with some of my live trades, the RSI levels were kind of throwing my trades off a little bit. So I was getting in either a little too early or a little too late. All right. And so I'm going back and I'm just kind of refining and tweaking my strategies here and trying to up my game for 2018. So what I do, and I would recommend this for anybody who's looking at trading stocks either short term or even going in on, say, some longer term trades or swing trading, where you're getting in on a stock and riding it out in the price action for, say, more than a few months, okay, maybe even on up into like a year or two. So basically what I'm doing here in this video is I'm just going to look at some different stocks right now and make some calls on those as far as where the price action is going, and then I'll shoot a later video and I'll go back and I'll look at what has happened to those stocks and if my calls were correct or incorrect. So it's good practice, and I would recommend anybody who's looking at day trading to do the same. It's basically the equivalent of paper trading. So what you're doing is you're just making trades on paper, all right, and it's you're not using real money here. You're just using it as practice. So that way, when you do go to the table and you throw down your hard-earned money, you've got more confidence and conviction in your trades, and that'll help control your emotions as well. So you're not freaking out if, say, the trade goes against you a little bit and you start losing a little bit of money. All right. Uh, so just getting started here. This is stock AG. This is First Majestic Silver Corporation, and I actually, you see this little square here? That little square that I marked right there is where I bought in, and I actually have money on the table on this one. Um, Now, if you look at the volume down here, you can see that there's been several days. We're on a daily chart, so there's been several days of selling action. And if I just draw a trend line here, we had and I circled these too. So you have a lower trough, a higher peak, a higher trough, and a lower peak. And then we had a trough right here, which was basically what I'd call an equilibrium on the troughs. And this is a good indicator of something called a power reversal signal. And what you'll end up getting a lot of times is a higher peak in the days to come. So you can see the price went up a little bit here, and I bought in on a lower peak. I probably could have waited for this to go a little higher to where I'd have like an equal peak or maybe even a higher peak. But if you look at the stochastics down here, we already approached anything that this little blue line right here, anything that goes under 20 signals that you're in overbought, or I'm sorry, oversold. You're in oversold territory, which means that you get a lot of people selling off. And normally what happens is that you'll see um, down here, if I circle right there, well, look what happened up here as far as the price action. So if you look right here, where I've got that circle, you had a lower trough, okay? And then what did it do? It bounced off this weekly support line here that I've got going, and it shot back up. So that's kind of what you're looking for as far as entry prices. And you can see right now we're in oversold territory. So I would suspect over probably the next week or two, um, this stock right here is going to start heading back up. So it might go just a little bit lower here, and I think we'll probably bounce off of that weekly support somewhere at the lowest price, $6.46. I'll go ahead and make that call right now, and then it's going to start shooting back up. I've got resistance at $7.76 roughly, maybe a little bit higher than that. I like to bring that resistance line down just a little bit because you never know if that price is going to, hit a little bit lower than what it was over here and then come back down. So I want to be prepared for that as far as my exit point. So that's AG at the current moment. We'll go over here. I've got a watch list going. Grow is one that I lost money on. You see this little blue arrow. Again, this I was not using stochastics for that one. I had a completely different indicator going, which was the RSI level, and that's what I'm talking about. The RSI level, the relative strength index, was showing me something a little bit different than the stochastics, and it didn't go hand in hand with this chart. So as you can see, I bought in a little bit early, right up here at a peak, and I got in around 525. Okay, and then look what happened. It dropped on me. Okay, now the thing is, if you look at this trend line going down, we had a higher peak and then a lower trough and then a lower peak and somewhat of a higher trough, but I went ahead and called it an equilibrium, so it's pretty much equal to this trough down here. I was looking for a power reversal move where it was going to continue heading up. All right, and it very may well do that, as you can see from the stochastics, but I was not using stochastics at the time, and the relative strength index was showing something completely different, and I was going off of that, and that's when I was like, well, if you've got a lower peak right here as opposed to back here, the price is going down, so you're going into this downward trend, and I was looking at that thinking, well, the price is going to continue dropping. I didn't feel comfortable with the trade, and I started doubting my entry. So like I've said before, when in doubt, get out, and that's what I did, and that's where I took my loss of about 15%. Now, if you subscribe to my channel and you go back and watch the last video, I was talking about my winning trades versus my losing trades, and I had a 75% win ratio on 4 different trades. So I won on 3 of them, and I lost on the other. And one of those trades that I won on wasn't even my own trade. It was one I was helping a friend with, but he was using my calls as far as entry and exit points. So I was correct on 3 of them, wrong on just one of them, and that one was this stock, and this stock only cost me a 15% loss. So I cut my losses short before I even gave it a chance to drop even further here. So if we drop on this stock here, if we drop where my cursor is and it goes below the weekly support right around like 433, the next support level is going to be roughly around 365. And I drew that out based upon this floor of price action. So we'll wait and see what happens. I would guess to venture, though, just looking at the charts, we're going to head back up a little bit, and I don't see it getting back to 525, to be honest with you. I mean, we're still in an upward trend, but I have a feeling that this one's going to come back down. So we'll watch it, and I could be wrong, guys. Like I said, I'm not perfect, but using the strategies I'm using here, moving forward for 2018, I think that my calls will be a little bit better. Let's go to WSR real quick. With WSR, we got the weekly support right here. WSR is Whitestone Realty, so it's a real estate investment trust. But if you look on this chart, you'll see we've got a peak and then a trough, and then we got a lower peak and a lower trough. We've got a lower peak, a lower trough, and a lower peak. So what do we have? Just looking at the price action, we've got downward trend, right? And if you look at the weekly support, we've already hit that weekly support. We got resistance up here at about 1502, and you can see back here as well, we are bouncing off that resistance. So I drew a line right there at 1503 for resistance. We haven't broke that resistance yet. Every time we hit it, we come back down. But you've got a tightening range starting to occur here, and right now we're in oversold territory on the stochastics. So I would say probably over the next week you're going to see this start to head back up, and we'll start to approach those resistance levels again. This right here, I would say would be a good entry point for a buy. Now you may want to wait though for confirmation that it's going to go back up. So you might want to wait a day or two to see if you got strong upward move right here, and that would be like the black bar, which indicates upward price action. So wait for the black bar and get a black bar that hits like 1405, maybe even 1422. And if you get one of those, go ahead and buy back in because you're going to go back up in price. You might want to wait too, though, just to see, because if it doesn't go up in price, it's going to go down, and it'll break that weekly support level here, and then the next level of support would be down here at $13.11. So it may drop a little bit further, and if it does, you could get in around $13.11, and by then that price is going to bounce back up. Now all this could take place. I'm gonna project out, just looking at the charts. This all would take place within about a week's time. So in the next 7 days, we'll come back in a later video and we'll touch more on that and see where that price actually is. WDDMF, which is Weed MD Incorporated, it's over-the-counter stock. You can see here we had a higher peak, a lower trough. The weekly support level is right here, so it's just hitting that weekly support level, and we've got some on the MACD. We got the blue line crossing under the yellow or the orange line there, and we're starting to get some downward action. The stochastics is signaling that as well. We haven't hit oversold territory yet, but when we do, I believe this stock is going to break through, and it already is kind of breaking through that weekly support. So the next level of support that it's going to come down to is $1.68. So we'll see where it goes from there. But I would say once we hit, closer to $1.68, $1.67, we're going to be down here in oversold territory, which means if you look back here, we had oversold territory where my cursor is, and we were at a lower trough. And then what did it do? It shot back up. So I'm looking for those upward movements like that, but you want to get in, like, if you were playing this stock, you would have wanted to get in back here, okay, because you would have made yourself a nice little profit, and then you could have got out at the top here on this peak. And if you look down here on the stochastics, we were in overbought territory, okay, so it was over 80 on the stochastics chart. So that's what we're looking at there. Those are just a few stocks right now that I'm looking at. Litecoin, we'll go back to Litecoin real quick. Again, I got in probably a little bit early. I could have waited for this thing to come down just a little bit more, but you're never going to be a 100% all the time with your entry and exit points. So the price could fall a little bit more on you on your entry, and the price could go up a little bit more on your exit. But as long as you have a good idea of when to get in and when to get out, your probability goes up for making profits. Okay, and that's what you're looking for because it reduces your risk. So with Litecoin, right now, we're just down here close to oversold. but we're not quite in oversold yet. As you can see in the volume here, there was some sell orders taking place. Now with this one, we still have a higher trough right over here. So we had a trough right here where my cursor is. That trough right here where I'm pointing is a little bit higher than that one. So we're still at a higher trough. We had a higher peak, and because of that, because we got a higher peak back here and a higher trough, we're still in an uptrend. All right, we broke through weekly support though, and weekly support was right around $240. The next level of support is 216. We're not quite at 216, so if we hit 216, I'm waiting to see what it does, because I would imagine, being down here in oversold territory, it's going to turn around. If not, I'm going to wait, because if it drops down here to like 153, which is the next level of support, I'm jumping back in and I'm going to buy some more, because the probability of it turning back up is going to be really, really high. Again, all that could play out. Could take, a couple weeks for it to hit down here to $152, and we'll see by Monday or Tuesday, we'll see if it breaks this support level right here, because if it breaks through this support level and heads down in price action, that's the next price I'm looking at, is around 152 or 153, give or take a couple bucks. But that's what I wanted to show you today as far as stocks that I'm watching. There's a couple others, but I don't want to cover those just for the sake of time on this video. Probably already going a little bit long on the video, but I'll come back here next week and we'll shoot another video towards the end of the week, and we'll see where we're at as far as all these calls that I'm making. Okay. Until then, guys, take care. Have a good weekend. Hit the like button if you like this. Go ahead and share it with others. Subscribe to the channel as well. And remember, income is the outcome, okay? I'll talk to you later.